Okay, people. So now it's February 19th, 2019. It's early in the morning. I'm going to keep this brief. And I'm going to just put this one as ShaMay would have been alive. Would have been alive, people. If Uncle John wouldn't have had been medically kidnapped. Because if he would have came home like he should have, ShaMay would have went to college. Plain and simple. Plain and simple, people. It was already in the works. She was working on it. She just wasn't getting in with the right college. She was getting into a college that was charging, it was a private college, right? And it was charging more money than Langara, which was a public college. Langara is where my son went. So we were trying to encourage ShaMay to go to Langara. So she was talking to Marcaine, her brother, about how to register with Langara. But the problem is, when she graduated from high school with honors, people, the top 10%, okay? She went into this private school or whatever it was to upgrade so that she could become a nurse. So she got her credits for that upgrade, and then she put the application in to go to that college, but the course itself was like 2 times more than if she was to take it at Langara. So that's when she decided just to work full-time for a while, a year or whatever, to, and then try and save some money to go to college, right? Because the credits that she had made at that college while she was there, and because it was an upgrade, she didn't have to pay for that, but she had to pay for the course itself, right? After she got the upgrade. They were not applicable to the Langara college, so if she was to go to Langara, she would have had to start all over again in terms of getting that upgrade, because they wouldn't have transferred over those credits, right? Because it came from 2 different colleges. Anyway, the point is, people, that it doesn't matter whether Uncle John got an inheritance or not. This is not what it's about. I'm boiling myself some water here. So I'm going to turn this off, make my tea, and come back, because I really don't want to leave this very long. But the thing is, it was the fact that he was in the home. He was an established member, right, in terms of hierarchy. You know, he was up there, him and I. We ran the house as equals. We didn't make no major decisions unless we discussed it, whatever. Kids talked to him and seen him every day. He talked to them and seen them every day. So that's, if he would have came home, people, she would have went to college. One way or another, whether she went to Langara and took those prerequisites again, you're right, the upgrade, or whatever she was going to do, it was in the works. But when they took him, you know, everybody got depressed, everybody got suicidal, nobody wanted to eat, you know, everybody felt that the world was over, everybody felt helpless, we couldn't help Uncle John, you know, these professional so-called union workers were attacking us from all different fucking angles, you know, it was rough, people, it was really fucking rough. And you know, when you got a young mind, 17, 18, 19, those are young minds, they're developing, their minds develop up until age 25. Okay, that's when the adult mind starts to stabilize. This is after the age of 25. So, they took Uncle John, right, for their morbid reason, left us to wallow in a living hell. And then, I don't know, people, somehow, some way, you know, she decided, well, they took John, she needed to work, she had to start paying more money to the house, right, because income dropped, and in order to keep the house, they had to pay a bit more rent, right? So she decided to work, help me, pay more rent, and then, you know, at some point, continue working on going back to school. That's why when she died, people, when she was murdered, people, she was 12 days shy of going back to college. She made 3 attempts, people, I can prove it, to go back to go to college. The first one, when she did the upgrade and then they wanted to charge her $32,000 or more just for the course itself. I don't know what it was. I'll hunt around for the papers. It's got to be around here somewhere. I got one set. Anyway, and then she did her upgrade, got her credits, and then it was too expensive. Uncle John was taken. She decided to work, help pay more rent, trying to save money to go back to college, was talking to her brother about going to Langara, right? And then Uncle John was taken. Around all that same time, I'll have to go and make sure I list everything down correctly in terms of the years. And she met somebody she should never have met, people. If she was in college, right, she would never have met the person who injured her. He would have been insignificant in her life because she would have been busy doing what she wanted to do, what she was supposed to be doing. And these people who steal other people's assets, I don't care if it's houses, pension plans, fucking diamond rings, and then go after body parts, they're not satisfied, people, with just the fucking hardcore physical, that kind of stuff, the dollar bill. They want your organs now. Because they're selling those organs to the fucking baby boomers and to the rich immigrants that are coming into this country that need heart valves and those types of things. Okay? ShaMay was set up for this, people, to fail. When they took Uncle John, actually, when they took Andre, my family was set up to fail. But we survived Andre. We got Andre back and we were pulling ourselves together as best as we could, and life started to feel somewhat normal after a year almost of having Andre back. And what did they do? They did a fucking boomerang for Uncle John's superannuation life insurance policy, which he didn't fucking have. And they stole his inheritance money. And they got basically away with it because the corporations are protecting them. So it can be done again. The only reason a corporation would protect such activity, people, is so that it can happen to somebody else. Because that's how it sustains itself. That's how those workers within that system sustain themselves and build their wealth. Because it compounds, like Uncle John would say, open up their portfolios. It's not the fact that they have a portfolio, it's just what's inside. How many life insurance policies? How many fucking properties do they own? How many fucking bank vaults, like, what do you call those things? Safety boxes do they have? How many gold buoyants do they have? How many offshore accounts or shadow accounts do they have? Hold on a minute. Okay, so the point is, she would never have met that person if she would have been in school, people. Plain and simple. Right? But she was thrown off track because they like to keep people poor. That's one thing I've noticed over the years. They manipulate your living circumstances so that you stay poor if you're in that below the category class. Right? That's why it's called a middle class and then the lower class. If you're already in that lower class, these people up in here will make sure they will find one way or another to keep you down there. They didn't want to see ShaMay excel and become like them. They wanted to push ShaMay further, deeper and deeper and deeper down. By any means necessary. Just so that they could maintain what they have and climb up. Okay? And if you notice, the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this is kind of the point of this video, it's known for a long time, people, that it's had a problem with fentanyl killing off innocent lives. But somehow, some way, the public union sector has tricked the public with an illusion that the people who are dying from fentanyl did it to themselves. Whether they were suicidal or whether it was an accident. so that they don't have to address the problem of people being murdered with fentanyl. Because at the end of the day, those people that are coming in with clean bodies, like ShaMay, are being used as a commodity to build wealth for that upper middle class. You can't take out organs and body parts and ligaments and all these things that they take from bodies in a butcher shop. It has to go through a public hospital or a private hospital, people. There is no other way. That's the only place for those facilities to happen. Those things to happen is in those types of facilities. And the only person who can facilitate that, the only people who can facilitate that type of activity in those types of environments are those upper middle class with their portfolios. The higher you get, the more power you get, the more strings that you can pull. So, in light of Andrew the Dragon fighting to protect the corporation and not Uncle John's human rights, right? In terms of he had a family and he is purposely ignoring the legislation around the mandate of how his corporation with their employees is supposed to serve the public. Serve it. Not profiteer off of it, but serve it. I hold Fraser Health Authority in part responsible for my daughter's death because they derailed a beautiful girl, a beautiful flower, a girl, a young woman who could play piano, who taught herself how to play piano and read music, people. And they basically got her murdered because they gotta want to keep feeding into this. Well, she did it to herself. She must have been a drug addict. You just didn't know about it. She was partying because she was celebrating about going to school in 12 days. So she got high at 8 o'clock in the morning all by herself with her sister down the hall with two, pregnant and a baby, her baby, and, the disgruntled ex sleeping in her bed. So she couldn't even go in her own fucking bed, people, and go lay down after looking after Amari all night long because that bastard called up at 10 after 6 in the freaking morning, got that on fucking on a Snapchat. So who's calling her at 6:10 in the morning and crawling into her bed because he got kicked out of his own fucking house? Oh, sorry, no. He ran away from his mother's house because that house got robbed. So he came over here to fucking hide out and then started playing the co-parenting game. When in fact she should have been working, people. She should have never known that guy. Uncle John should have fucking came home. She would have been in fucking school somewhere along the line within the first 6-7 months of whatever she was doing at that time. More than likely somehow connected to Langara College, which is a public college. Right? And she would have been a nurse today. Today, people. Today. 3 years. ShaMay was a genius. High IQ. Way above the average. But if you notice, the one that could fucking think and talk, right? And unlike Sierra, is dead. Well, the government union that cries every time the election comes, saying, oh, we're first, we're the union. We serve the public, you have to pay us first by any means necessary. They're the ones that are doing nothing about fentanyl in our community so that people like my daughter go into their system so they can pillage their fucking body parts through the back door of the emergency room, just like they pillaged Uncle John through the back door of the emergency room in the Victoria General Hospital when they got him across the water and pillaged his money and destroyed his brain. ShaMay was taken over there when she should have been pronounced dead here. We know the story. Because if she would have been pronounced dead here, the coroner would have came, everything would have been taped up, all the fucking evidence would have been documented, and somebody would be in jail right now, people. But that's not what happened because that's not what the public union sector wants. They want those bodies going into the fucking healthcare system so they can say, oh, junkie, no good, just go fucking toss it off into the garbage. Let it out and fucking rot out in the fucking streets, just a fucking junkie, right? But this one, this one's pristine. This one we can get something out of. And because we're so damn good at what we do, family won't fucking notice. Because they're too stressed out. Because if we're not stressing them out here at the freaking hospital, we've got that fucking government agency over there stressing them out. So the young ones, the teenagers, the young adults, when they're caught up in this shit, they end up coming across people that they shouldn't be fucking meeting, never mind having relationships with. And when the relationship goes bad, they need to fucking disconnect right away. Don't let it drag on for a year or two until you fucking figure it out after you're dead. It took ShaMay to fucking die to figure out what I was saying to her about that person. But you see, the union sector doesn't care though, right? Because at the end of the day, it's people like that person that brings in more dead bodies. Because they're not just stealing old people's money, properties, houses, and all that other shit. They're stealing organs now, people. And if they're not stealing organs because the body has been dead for an hour and a half before they jump-start at the heart, they can still get heart valves, ligaments, fucking skin, all kinds of crazy shit. So it's still worth their time to do nothing as your loved ones die. Because murder by fentanyl only takes a fucking second. Trust me. Been through it already. Okay? And being that nobody witnessed that person doing that to you, nobody's gonna go to jail. Because that's not where the money is, people. The money is in what's inside of you. Or maybe your child. Or grandchild. Just so that up there can stay up there. Right? So I hold Fraser Health Authority in part and CIBC Bank in part for the death of my daughter. Because if they would have done the right fucking thing from the get-go, ShaMay would be a certified nurse today, being a shiny bright light in a very dark fucking hole.